All right, one more time. Don't want to pay for a steeple. Ah.
So where do we start?
Maybe at the beginning. Let's since we've we've just joined everybody on YouTube. Hi, everybody in YouTube land. So if say a stranger just came in, subscribed to my channel, and clicked on this video, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mattias Allring. Did I say it right?
Yeah, almost.
Oh man, I always say it wrong. What? Tell me your name.
Yeah, but it's closer to the right answer than Maine is to Sweden.
Mattias.
Mattias.
Mattias. I'm a stupid American.
That's good enough.
I'll never get it. Anyway, it's Matt. And he is an expert backwards flyer. Here's a couple of examples for you. I could never do that, ever. But he insists that I can, and he insists that you can as well. So what's the secret other than being extraordinarily talented?
Well, let's start from the beginning, shall we? So this is kind of like when you go and get glasses. You know that you will read from the top, and it's really easy, and then you go further down, and it becomes gradually harder.
Right.
It's almost the same thing. Almost.
Okay.
Yeah. So why do I fly backwards? Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
But another reason is you don't get the props in the way, because when the drone is tilting really hard, when you fly forwards, you get the propellers into the camera view.
True.
But when you back, the propellers are up like this.
Yeah.
So then you don't get the propellers in the view.
Right.
But another reason is that it's something totally different between flying FPV, first-person view, than to fly line of sight, which I do when I back.
Mm-hmm.
And that the difference, and I'm trying to illustrate this with a picture. When you fly FPV, if you look at this picture, and this is a little drawing where I have the drone in the center. This is looking from upside. You have a little house over here and a tree. So if you want to go and fly near the house with the FPV, when you look from the drone, it will be really easy because you know exactly where the house is in relation to the drone.
Right.
When you're getting closer, the house will be bigger and bigger, and you'll know when to stop. So you can get within 1 or 2 meters comfortably.
Okay.
Yeah, that is a good thing about FPV. What are the bad things about FPV?
Well, it limits your field of vision.
Yeah, so if you are standing down here, you will have very good idea of how far it is to the house, so up here, but you won't know what's around you, and you don't know exactly what the direction is. Are we moving towards the tree or the house right now? Now, here comes a difference. When you fly line of sight, LOS, it's a totally different way of flying. So over here you are standing, and when you fly towards the house will not get any bigger. The drone will get smaller.
Right.
The downside of LOS is that it will be really hard for you to know when you reach the house. Standing over here, looking only at the drone, not the screen, it will be very uncomfortable to go close to the house and stop, because you don't really know if you are 10 meters away from it or 5 meters away from it. You have much less accuracy on distance here than you have in first-person view.
Right. It's easier to avoid the tree and the house with visual line of sight than it is with the goggles on or something.
Yeah. So if you have a silhouette, clear silhouette between the house and the tree, then and you put the drone on a line between yourself and that silhouette, then as you go forward, the drone will just go smaller. It will look like it's standing still. So as soon as you have the slightest deviation of the course of the drone, you will notice that it starts drifting. In the first-person view, it can start drifting quite a lot before you catch that it's drifting.
Yeah, no, I'm getting it. I'm getting it. And by the way, you've got two great potential band names there: the Spear of Uncertainty and the Ball of Uncertainty. Have you taught school before? Are you some teacher? Because
I'm a strategist.
Oh, is that what you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
I usually get a lot of paid to do models like this.
Oh, well.
Usually in PowerPoint.
Oh, it's very well done, and I like your illustrations very much. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, so let's talk about levels.
Yeah.
Difficulty of flying line of sight.
Mm-hmm.
I think about it like there are 6 different levels. The easiest one, which is still kind of cool, is having just one obstacle below the drone. That would be level 1.
Right.
So the only thing you need to keep track of here, you don't need to keep track of the direction so much. The only thing you need to do is to keep track of the air gap underneath the drone.
The Cliff of Death, what level is that? Cliff
of Death is level 1. Because
really?
You only have 1 degree that you need to keep track of. You just need to keep the drone above the silhouette of the Cliff of Death.
And this was shot where?
This was shot at my parents' house.
Okay.
So it was about 500 meters distance.
So you grew up at a place that had a Cliff of Death.
No, that would be cool. They moved there.
Oh, okay, I'm just glad. I was going to say, I'm glad you survived. I could see me as a little kid. I would be, woo, that's it. All right. So, all right, level 2 then.
Level 2, if you translate that to a silhouette, this would be level 1, just like that. Level 2 is if you have an obstacle and you're flying you want to fly your drone close to a tree, for instance. That can look kind of cool. If you have a really high speed and you pass it within, within 10 feet,
right?
It will look very, very close, even if it's very safe distance.
Okay.
So, and here you have two directions to keep track of. You have the distance to the tree and the distance to ground. Which one do you think is more critical?
The tree.
Yeah. Because that's where the drone will keep. If it's level, the drone will keep the height more or less by itself. So the really important stuff is keeping the distance to the tree. So you need to put like 80% of your brain power on focusing on the gap between the tree and the drone, and then you can leave 20% to focus on the air gap underneath it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let me ask you something here before we go much further. I know people are going to want to know at what level do you, or at any level, do you turn off the safety sensors? I
would say as soon as you try to do this, you need to turn them off.
Right, because it will naturally want to avoid it.
Yeah, unless you have a Phantom 4. Because if you have a standard Phantom 4, it doesn't have the sensors to the back. But if you are flying a Mavic Air or a Phantom 4 Pro, then it has the sensors facing back.
Yeah.
And then you need to turn them off. Otherwise, it ruins the shot.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Then we have a level 3. Going back here. Level 3 is when you have obstacles on 3 sides. So this could be a typical level 3 scene. You have a house, you have the ground, and you have a flagpole.
Is that a Swedish flag right there?
Yeah, that's a Swedish flag.
Okay. Okay. Very good.
So here you want to keep it in between. Again, you need to put at least 80% of your focus on this orientation, and the air gap should not be so hard, because unless you have differences in altitude between where you're standing and where the house is. So what do you do if something goes wrong here? Oops, I'm losing control, and you're flying in sport mode here. What do?
You let go of the controls and stop.
Yeah, you let go of the controls. And that is still safe. Up to level 3, you can just let go of the controls. Right. Now comes the interesting part. Level 4 you don't have that safety anymore. But you can add some extra margin because a wide angle will make everything look like it passes closer than it actually does.
Except when you hit stuff like you did in a couple of videos.
yeah.
Let's very quickly, let's turn to, there's a point where you hit a twig and I was worried about you. Let's take a look at that. You were coming up on this twig here and bloop. Were you worried at that point?
No, not really.
No.
I know what twigs were dangerous and which ones were not.
Okay,
so, yeah.
Very good.
And that scene is that would be a level 3 because you have obstacles on 3 sides.
Yeah.
Now, here is when it starts to get really tough.
Mm-hmm.
Level 4, then you have a roof as well.
Yeah.
So what a typical level 4 would look like is here we have a little road. And you have trees, and the canopies are joining at the top. That's a level 4.
Right.
So imagine you're flying now in sport mode, backing through here. It's really easy. You just keeping it within here. You only have 2 degrees that you need to keep track of still. So it's a height and sideways. So it's not really harder to do this than level 3. It's only that you do not have a failsafe. Because what happens if you fly full speed sport mode backwards here and you let go of the controls?
It keeps going for a while. Yeah.
The Phantom 4 will pop up.
Oh.
It will gain altitude. If you let go of the controls in full speed, it will rise.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So once you start a pullback in sport mode at level 4, there is no stopping. You have to carry on through.
Okay, that's commitment. So you want to thread the needle and make sure you commit. That's why this is a good idea, a good plan to do this incrementally and lead up to these.
Exactly.
Right.
You can play one of mine videos there. The one where I back through fog.
Oh yeah, the fog. Let's check that out.
So in this video, you will see. That if I would have let go of the controls in the middle here, the drone would have risen into the canopies and it would crash.
Wow. How long did it take you to get to this point where you could do a level 4 shot there?
Not so many, actually. Quite few on the real drone. But here's where you need to be smart, because you don't want to risk your Phantom 4 learning how to fly backwards.
Right.
So I'm looking for my practice drone right now. Just a moment.
Okay. We're going to see a drone that's got all kinds of cracks and broken propellers, and it's all beat up. Here's the practice drone.
Yeah, it looks really bad. Here's a Hubsan X4.
Yeah.
Really cheap drone. You can buy extra propellers for $1 or so. So I bought this. I was flying indoors with it, and then I can exercise and train on going back and forth up to about level. You can do more than level 4 with this. The good thing about this one, I'm not. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I wanted to show you something. This is mine. This is my first one.
Ah,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a Hubsan.
Okay.
I think everybody's got a Hubsan in their past. It's a good drone.
Yeah, and pick that out. If you want to learn how to do really good pullbacks, it's very similar to the Phantom in a way that it has some altitude control. So that way it behaves a little bit like what do you call it? ATI mode.
Yes. Okay.
And that's but ATI mode is still much harder to fly than to fly in sport mode
and
or
just,
P mode.
And just to be sure, you are not doing all of these acrobatics in ATI mode.
No, that would be crazy to do it in ATI mode because you have no failsafe whatsoever. Then
I'm just reiterating this for the viewers that may not know. I get questions all the time about flying in ATI mode, and I'll just say it one more time, just for them. Don't fly in ATI mode ever. There's no reason for it. Okay.
The Hubsan is actually harder to fly and harder to do a pullback with than your Phantom 4 or Mavic Air or whatever you're flying. So anything you do with this will be harder than reality. So once you master this one, then it's going to be easy flying the same way outdoors with a better drone.
Absolutely.
So,
yes.
it's kind of like Roman gladiators. They used to have a wooden sword with an iron cord inside it that would be a little heavier than the real sword, so that you practice on something that's harder than the real deal. So once you go out and fight for real, everything is a little bit easier and you do better.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I didn't know that. A little fun fact there. Now, I will say that I have noticed that where you are as the pilot is very important when starting out. And I've seen videos, I don't know what level it is, but I've seen videos where you start out in a certain position, then you get that, what you called the slingshot. You're using the slingshot, and you'll explain that here in a second, I'm sure. But once you get the perspective thing where the drone is fading off, then if you want to make a turn, and I've seen you when you go out over, and I'll show this video now, when you go out over you come through the trees and you go out over the lake, and then you think it's over, and you keep going. I see you repositioning yourself, and you come around, and then you make another beeline for another target, a tree, I think, because that's what it was very surprising. You actually made a turn, and you couldn't do that unless you repositioned yourself.
Yeah, here's a drawing of that specific scene.
Okay.
So I started off outside the map with the drone. I'm standing here when it starts. I do a little slide sideways to get into the shot, just adding that side movement. So and then I slide. At the same time, I had to reposition myself. Yeah. To a new line. So I was running sideways then, while the drone was going sideways, and then try to slide as close to this peak as possible onto the new line. And then when I was there, then I passed over the tree line at the end, but that was not so hard anymore, because then it was just level 1 or level 2.
Right.
The hard stuff was the side sliding.
Yes, while you're moving, and then at the end reacquiring that perspective again, without wobbling too much back and forth. So describe the slingshot technique that you were using with the controller, if you would.
So the idea of the slingshot here is that as soon as a drone is facing towards you, and this is an idea of my controls, what my controls look like in my head. That's the left control, the right control. So when I want to go in a certain direction, I pull the control like I would with a slingshot. Say I want to shoot something up here, then I know instinctively that I need to pull the rubber control down this way. Yeah, and the harder I pull it, the harder the stone will fly in this direction. Right. So that's it. So as long and it goes both ways. So if I want the drone to go towards me, then I just need to pull it upwards. Okay. The other thing you need to think about is to never touch yaw. As soon as you touch yaw, you mess up the whole coordinate system. So if you start doing any adjustments on yaw over here, then all this will be twisted, and that is how you crash your drone if you do pullbacks. Never touch yaw. Yeah.
Now all of this that you've explained is very important, but like I said before, you've got to have a certain knack for this. Some people will, some people won't. You have to have spatial awareness that a lot of people just don't have. That's why everybody isn't a pilot. Hats off to you for attempting to explain your genius here, but it really is quite genius. No matter how you break it down, you, sir, are very talented, and it's very generous of you to take the time to try to explain your genius. So if you try this, right? If you try it and you screw up your drone a couple times, then just stop doing it. Right?
Yeah. But that's why you have a Hubsan. Do everything on the Hubsan and know where is your limit. How far can I go along this difficulty?
All right, so I'm going to go out and I'm going to use my my Phantom 4, not my Phantom 4 Pro, but I'm going to use my Phantom 4, and I'm going to get a couple shots that I will share with you guys here in a couple of minutes. But first, I want to thank you for your time, sir. Thank you. We're Skyping all the way across the world. He's in Sweden right now. What time is it there? It's 3 o'clock here in the States. What time is it there?
It's past bedtime.
Oh, okay.
Past my kids' bedtime.
Oh, dear. All right. Well, thank you very much for all of your time and your expertise. That's really wonderful that you took this time to explain this to us. And I'm sure there's people watching that can't wait to get out there and destroy their drones. And just let me say that I cannot be held responsible for any cracks or lost propellers from watching this video. And I'm going to butcher your name one more time. I'm going to try to say it correctly. Mattias?
Close enough. Close enough.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir, for being on with us.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, here I am at an undisclosed location. Well, it's a church. And I'm going to try to fly past that steeple at an ungodly speed. And according to Mattias, what is it, Falco? That's right, rock me, Mattias. According to him, I should be able to do it with ease. This will be a level 2, I believe, because there is an obstacle right there. And hopefully, the big guy will be taking the sticks. Jesus, take the sticks. I'm actually trying to beat the rain. There's a storm coming, but it'll help me with the clouds being dark and this being light. I'll be able to see it a little bit better. Yes, this is the Phantom 4, not the Phantom 4 Pro. I couldn't bear to lose either one, but of the two, well, you know. All right, I'm gonna try to let you see the view that I have as I try to fly backwards just past that steeple. I'll zoom in a little bit here. Here we go. First pass. That wasn't straight at all. That was, I'll have to try that again. Okay, try number 2. I'll crouch down like Matt did here. This is what he does. He does like this. Did that work? Was that good? Is that a keeper? All right then, well, that was fun.